One of my favorite passages in the New Testament is found in Matthew 25, where Jesus tells a story of the separation of the sheep from the goats. And he says to one group of people, he says, welcome. Welcome into my kingdom because you saw me when I was hungry and you gave me some food, and you saw me when I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink, and you saw me when I was naked and you clothed me, and you visited me while I was in prison. And these people look at Jesus and they say, we didn't ever do any of that kind of stuff. What are you talking about? And Jesus says, well, whenever you did it for one of the least of these people, you've done it for me. You did it to and for me. And then he turns to another group of people and he says, essentially, yeah, you're on the other side of this story because you saw me hungry and you didn't do anything. You saw me thirsty and you didn't give me anything to drink. I was in prison and you didn't visit me. I was naked and you didn't clothe me. And the people say, wait, Jesus, if we had seen you doing it, we definitely would have done that. Why? We never saw you in that way. And Jesus says, whenever you haven't done it under one of the least of these, whenever you've ignored them, you've ignored me. And I think I like that because I feel like we as Christians spend a lot of time um, trying to find Jesus, trying to identify where Jesus is at work in the world. And strangely enough, we tend to look towards structures of power. We tend to look towards the wealthy and the powerful as though God is going to use them to change the world, but God's never used those people. God always seems to find the little boys who has the lunch, and he finds the son who is the weakest and out in the fields with the sheep rather than all of the older brothers. And that's the son. That one over there is the one who becomes the king. And he waits until Moses isn't in the courts of Pharaoh anymore. And God seems over and over again to choose to change the world, not through power and strength, but through weakness and self-sacrifice. And I think the invitation to all of us is the same, that God isn't found in the halls of power. God isn't found in Senate houses and White Houses and Supreme Courts, that God is actually found in homeless encampments. God is actually found on the streets. God is actually found in food banks and food lines and clothing banks. And there are over 2,000 verses in Scripture that remind us that we are to take care of the poor. He uses different words. Sometimes it's the orphan, the alien, the widow. But the idea is the same, and it's the same that we see in Matthew 25, that Jesus is calling all of us to go and to find God in those broken places amongst broken people, that when we get a chance to live with and interact with them, we get a chance to interact with God, with Jesus himself. So I guess the call for all of us is to go and to find the broken and to find the needy, to find the poor, and to meet them where they are. Because when we do so, we find more than the needy and the poor. We actually find Jesus.